Hi, I'm Davina Shemaya, and I'm recovering from complex post-traumatic stress disorder and narcissistic abuse, just like you. And today I want to talk about how a narcissist responds when you set a boundary. So there are a number of ways, and I'm going to go over about 10 or 11 of them. Number one is they might just flat out refuse to change. For example, they might say, well, that's just the way I am. Or they might say, I hope you accept me the way I am. Just basically totally dismissing your what you said or what you needed. Or that's just the way I like to do things. They might also say, well, I do this with my other friends and they don't mind, or they're okay with it. So again, just really not acknowledging what you're needing and not really caring, So that's the first one, just refusing to change. Number two is totally disregarding or ignoring your boundaries after you have spoken it up. So you might have a conversation with them and they seem to be on board with what you're asking, but then things kind of just continue on as they were, and they haven't made any behavioral change, or maybe just very, very little. Like they're kind of doing it's like they're doing the very minimal they think they can get away with. So that is another narcissistic kind of ploy that they use. Number three is kind of similar. It's just a silent treatment, like no response at all. Like if you sent them an email and asked about something, they just like no response. Just like a wall, nothing. Number four is similar, stonewalling. So you voice your boundary and they say, I don't want to discuss this, or there's nothing to talk about, or I'm done with this conversation, or I have no hard feelings. It's very bizarre, but they act like, like you've brought something up to them, but they're saying they don't want to talk about it. Can be very frustrating to be on the other side of that. Another thing they do is deflection or blame shifting. So they will turn it around to make it seem like you're doing something wrong. Like they might say, well, how come it took you so long to bring this up to me? So suddenly they're shifting it to the focus to something else. Or they'll say, well, don't you know that verbal communication is better than an email? So they might focus on how you're speaking it up or when you're speaking it up, or anything to, they might just like change the topic completely. Like they will do anything to get out of, owning up or, hearing you out. So yeah, another thing they can do, and this was a new one for me, but playing dumb. Yeah, they will suddenly act very, very stupid. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't understand how you feel, even though you've just explained it very articulately to them. Or, I don't know what you mean. Right? They'll just give this like real, like innocent kind of like, just playing dumb. On the other hand, number 7, am I doing numbers? I forget if I'm doing numbers. They might be very haughty and really smug about it. They might be like, well, everyone knows it's better to do it this way. Or, well, I'm just saying that one ought to blah, blah, blah. So kind of making your needs sound like it's again like weird or crazy or goes against what everybody else is doing, so that their way is the best way and they know the right thing. And so that's another thing they can do. Also a word salad. I've only experienced this once, but man, it's just really confusing. They might, if they're speaking to you, it might just sound like a long, confusing monologue, like, what are you talking about? And how is that related to what I'm speaking to you about. Or if it's writing again, it will just be this nonsensical paragraphs that might go completely off topic. They might be really vague and indirect, never really acknowledging what you said or what you wanted. And so, yeah, it can just leave you feeling like, whoa, what just happened there? Like, yeah, so if you get that feeling of confusion, frustration, you probably just had a word salad thrown at you. Another one is they might try to argue your boundaries. This happened to me as well. They will start, basically starting an argument, explaining to you why your boundaries are wrong or ridiculous or irrational or unreasonable or whatever. They will, you will feel like you are really in a debate, and you might find yourself defending and explaining your boundaries. So, and you might, even if you're writing an email, you might feel like, I need to put these things in bold letters so they understand me. Like you might feel like you're talking to someone in kindergarten. It's like pulling teeth, as they say, just like, what are you like? You're just not getting anywhere. So, don't over explain or defend your boundaries. These are they're non-negotiable. Like, this is my boundary. You can choose to follow it or not. Like, that's it. Like, they're not something to be argued about. Another one, I'm sure you've heard of it, is gaslighting. And this can be used in so many situations, but also when you set a boundary, they might say, well, you're just being too sensitive, or you're making a big deal out of nothing, or you're overreacting, I think. Classic kind of gaslighting. They might also go on the defensive, like, well, I was only blah, blah, blah. Like, I was only joking, why are you taking it so seriously? Something, if they said something that seemed rude or something, or, well, I didn't mean it that way, or I didn't intend to hurt you, so they'll just kind of, again, just kind of whitewashing it, like dismissing it, just making light of it. So these are many ways that a narcissist will react to boundaries. And of course, none of these are healthy ways, because a healthy person will say, thank you for bringing this to my attention. And I'm really sorry, I wasn't aware that I was doing that. And yes, I'd be happy to do blah, blah, blah. Generally, that's what a healthy person would say. They are going to show a willingness. They're going to maybe want clarity, like, would you like me to do it like this or like this? Or, they're going to be curious about what you're feeling, what you're needing. They're not going to be, defensive at all. They're just going to be like, oh yeah, well, I really value our friendship, and I want to make sure that, that your needs are being met in this relationship. So that is a good thing to keep in mind. I just wanted to say too that, the narcissist game is really to control you and to get you to conform. So, they will try to get you to do things their way, which of course is dysfunctional and unhealthy. And that way they can continue their abuse, so that they can avoid their own shame. That's their kind of game. So, this is what we learned from childhood, was to conform, because otherwise we were going to be, punished or blamed or shamed or all the rest of it. So as a child, you had to basically unknowingly conform to doing it your parents' way, just in order to fit in and try to be accepted. And as an adult, you may have continued this pattern of kind of go along to get along. So you just kind of do it however the other person kind of wants. You kind of do that people pleasing kind of thing, and not challenging behaviors that are hurtful for you or disrespectful to you. So challenging these things and speaking up about it and setting boundaries can be extremely difficult, and can actually bring up a feeling of terror because you're so used to having someone do all these things, right? Disregard and blame shift and all that stuff. So be really, really gentle with yourself and understand that as a child, you were brainwashed. You were really, literally brainwashed to, yeah, to not stand up for yourself. That was not acceptable. It was not acceptable to be frustrated. It was not acceptable to protest their unhealthy behaviors. So, what did I write here? Yeah, it's going to take a lot of courage. It's going to take a lot of patience to speak up to people, to your friend, to your spouse, to your girlfriend, boyfriend, and again, especially to an authority figure like maybe a boss or someone that you see as an authority figure. Even someone like a therapist or a coach, you might find it difficult to speak up to. So it's just, again, bringing awareness to this and having a lot of compassion for yourself, knowing the, the unconscious programming that you have had. So I hope that this has been helpful in some way to you today. And yeah, just keep in mind what a healthy person would say, and you deserve to have healthy people in your life. And I am Davina Shemaya at Boldness Blooming, wishing you many, many blessings on this sometimes very challenging journey of healing and awakening. Peaceful day.